I just going live from the current location just to document a few topics. As far as what a typical day has become and the evolution of extensive emitted information, and despite lack of explicit, verified, confirmed, fact-based evidence from personnel, for example, a private investigator, detective, fugitive agent, if that's right. So some of the challenges associated with untangling and verifying the agitation topic and topic of coping and the reality of symptoms associated with family planning and the commitment to cause harm and the commitment to discredit and stalk. So the lack of cognition to realize, like for strangers to realize that they are the problem and they don't care and they're shameless and believe they are to accomplish and, well, to be very honest, a barista at a cafe or a meal guest representative that's homeless shouldn't have that kind of power either. So there's people could be referencing so much that I have absolutely no inclination of. So we discuss clarification and verification. So to go to fact-based information of how was today, if my husband were to ask me, how was your day today? And I miss you, to the reality of family planning right now, but the boys have their own space and there's nothing wrong with their nature. And so if I wouldn't say the pro-con situation is tough during this time. So there are a few get sellers, people trying to fuse the timeline. There's something that goes on with the endocrinology of reproductive chemicals in a woman's body during certain stages of family planning, if that's the best way to say that. So the planning, if that's the best way to say that. So pain are extremely different. So I'm not certain if some physicians would say almost worse than being stabbed repeatedly. So there's and as far as the acuity, whether acute or chronic pain, some people deal with pain, which is kind of tough to imagine. So the intricacy of what these bad people, because that's what they are trying to accomplish is associated with a kind of paradoxical upper downer, if that's the best way to say that. Not as far as focus or no focus and no referentiation and ovulation and delivering a baby. They're doing something, the chemical, not epidemiology, but pathology, the idiopathic process of what these, so think of the kind of staff that people would need. So this is disconcerting, upsetting, unsettling, and disturbing. And so for us, as far as remaining solution-oriented, we are not risking ourselves or our family. And the rigor that's needed to really ensure that we're protected from this will always involve a zero tolerance policy. So we really do strive and if it's possible in consideration of the not the politics of war, but of class systems, and that they're not just for advocacy. Keep this right here for right now. The way we stay progressive about this is family, and that involves a really thorough self-assessment, like physiological space and psychosocial space. That means realizing either the environment that's your origin or that you knew to your origin is or isn't helpful in consideration of what your short-term, long-term goals are, prognosis, life expectancy, the culture of conversation. And so as far as how people end up choosing to not address the topic of who asks for help and who knows what to ask for help means for themselves and their environment. The misogyny, how repugnant, repulsive, and outright, just as far as I in the gamut of vocabulary of language. And that's also what's most dangerous and deceiving, because sometimes people are so busy with various priorities in life and don't realize that they aren't their own priority, and how people do or don't learn that. So or that their family wasn't really capable, who they knew to be their family wasn't really capable of loving, who they knew to be their family wasn't really capable of loving them. And then that's like, that could potentially be boarding school. Like most kids, there should be some sort of, but then in consideration of the level of corruption that's been ongoing. So then we do caste system. So some people that are from certain socioeconomic backgrounds choose that they want, challenges along the way. For example, the men that are going in are absolutely disgusting, and they're going in almost as if they've been scheduled, and they are either in the cafe or they're outside of the cafe and they're stalking me. And so they wait and they watch, or they're notified, hypothetically, and someone literally followed me to the restroom today. That has happened. A woman followed me, an individual, a stranger that appeared to be a woman, followed me to the restroom. They defecate, flatulence, and they masturbate. This is new, they're opening up some sort of wrappers. So the commitment to try to mislead, misguide, and confuse, and the reason or the motive and rationale as to why they believe that on the other side of a divider that they could somehow so grossly mislead me in a way that could cause major concern and duress because I'm married, right? So we had discussed the ongoing concerns of what rape culture, the violent acts of sexual assault, harassment, stalking is already violent. But these people are almost treating me like I have no rights. And they're almost doing this. They don't even care if they do or they don't provoke irritation or annoyance with me. They're more preoccupied with believing that they're of a certain kind of power in my presence, that they can attempt to denigrate disgracefully and rape me from the other side of a divider wall. That's what they're doing. This has been the entire time that I've been here. So at the other cafe that I'll never go back to, they would wait outside the door and they would try to jam the door. And so they're doing that at this next location as well. As far as whether or not people were placing bets, and this is all a big game, and these people they blatantly lie. And we had, when I was first displaced here, the guest representative was the first confirmation that there are people that really pretend to be of a certain kind of ethics, and they're not. So as far as whether or not skepticism or suspicion should really have precedence in this situation, yes, but not for me, so there's overwhelming evidence. So today was nonstop. Got to the cafe around their start time today, and I would say by noon was when as far as keeping track of time, people have tried to starve me. So they literally have tried to physiologically starve me, and they've continuously tried to poison the food. So whenever they poison the food with certain chemical agents, which are yet to be verified, they make it almost impossible to eat food. And they're doing this on purpose, and I don't know why. So as far as certain lab values and levels and what's going on with my body when I'm getting ready to hypothetically go into labor, and the chemical toll of my husband's not here, and my husband is really the only individual that can assist with managing the boundaries with the littles. He is the only person that can do that. I'm not going to be that way. This is not the time or the place they have their own life and their own space. So this is extremely tough, but the cruelty and the barbaric nature of what people have been trying to accomplish, just staying focused on the reality of how bad this is, and that me and my husband, I choose to remain progressive and proactive and focused on the priorities. So the littles they're not doing anything wrong, if that's the right way to say that. So, but that this has been extremely painful at times is true. And so really the hygiene products have been extremely problematic. So if I were at home, I'm not certain exactly how we would manage this, to be very honest, because it's really violent to have to insert a tampon. Specifically during this kind of process. And I don't want to have to remove the tampon and then reinsert the tampon. So I really wait until to have some sort of realization that, well, not realization, indication that the tampon is saturated. There are concerns about making sure that our physician did discuss this. My husband should understand what I'm referencing. So they are very advanced, but the size of the tampons has been, I would wonder if my husband agrees with me, like just one tampon throughout this process, whatever the time frame is, would be extremely helpful. But if that hinders whatever boys are attempting to accomplish, then I can't proceed with that kind of intervention. So the violence, like the commitment to be so violent when this is something that's so biological and normal, natural, and part of their healthy process of their life right now. And I'm not going to, I'm wondering for an agreement that this is not helpful to discuss this further. So, tough. So I'm not certain where we're at with, I'm not certain with where we're at with putting a complete stop to this. And so today, I'm speechless, to be very honest. So hopefully, one step at a time, and I am going to conclude for now. One second. Thank you.